What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and I just got back from seeing Suicide Squad. First things first, I'm actually testing out a new camera and a new microphone, so let me know how you guys feel about this, and hopefully it's it's pretty good quality. I won't really know until I get into post, but to the topic at hand, Suicide Squad. So, what did I think about it? Well, for me, Suicide Squad was amazing. It was an amazing movie, but that's because I went into it knowing what to expect. And for those of you guys who are going into the Suicide Squad film expecting something tantamount to Captain America Civil War or The Winter Soldier or The Avengers or something along those lines, you're going to find yourself disappointed. The Suicide Squad was never designed for that purpose. The Suicide Squad largely consisted of characters who were considered to be unsellable, with the exception of Harley Quinn. She's always done well. But that's because she was in Batman the Animated Series, so there's a whole different story behind that. But the rest of the characters are really just kind of an ongoing rotation. But the Suicide Squad was really popular because of the fact that anybody could die at any one particular moment. Now, having said that, when it came to the movie, were there elements of it that I didn't really care for? Yes, but the only one element that I didn't like was the plot, and that's only because the plot was thin. Even for a comic book film, it really could have dealt with a little more meat and potatoes in order to beef it up a bit. But aside from that, I thought everything else was on point. The characters were very well designed for what they needed to be. The characters of Harley Quinn and Deadshot were clearly the frontrunners just because Will Smith is such a big name actor, and Margot Robbie is a beautiful woman, and Harley Quinn's a very anticipated character since this is the first time that we're actually seeing her in comic book form. In film form in any kind of comic book movie. But aside from that, the movie was stellar. You know, this movie felt like if the Punisher and Deadpool had a love child, and that child was a team, and had Harley Quinn. And that being said, you know, this movie right now is ranked number 2 in terms of my favorite movies of this year. Of course, Captain America Civil War being number 1, but this movie is right behind it. This was really just high octane, fast paced movie cliches. You know, it wasn't trying to be anything special. It was trying to be what the comics were. But what was even better about this movie was the fact that it had so much tie-in. This movie really is one of those films that solidified the fact that there is a big cohesive DC universe out there, that Batman vs. Superman, that the Man of Steel, the upcoming Batman movie, the Justice League, the whatever movies are coming out, Wonder Woman, that these films are all going to be part of a larger DC universe. This movie tied into that extremely well, especially the post-credit scene, which you guys need to check out. It really stood to me as something just fun and entertaining and no frills, and there wasn't some deep understanding of the characters, you know, in terms of why they were doing what they did. It was pretty straightforward. Now, in terms of the characters themselves, of course, we talked about Harley Quinn, we talked about Will Smith, Amanda Waller. That character was amazing. I absolutely loved Amanda Waller in this. She was the Amanda Waller that I remember from before the New 52. For those of you guys who loved the pre-New 52 Amanda Waller, this is the one for you. For those of you guys who like the New 52 Amanda Waller, not really sure you're going to find what you're looking for here, but that doesn't mean this Amanda Waller's not great. She's hardcore, she's cutthroat, she is ruthless. I mean, she is exactly what you'd expect for a woman in her position. She is, you know, she's the person you don't want to cross. It's how she comes across. You know, again, the character of Deadshot of Will Smith was pretty stellar. The character of Harley Quinn was, man, it was sexy. I'll be quite honest. It was that crazy sexy appeal that Warner Brothers was going for, and they did a great job doing that. Of course, there were a lot of scenes where Margot Robbie had bent over, and you know, they were kind of allowing her to show off what she was working with, which I didn't mind. But in terms of the other characters, Captain Boomerang is a small-time villain in DC Comics. He's a small-time Flash villain, and he always will be. He'll never be a major character in DC Comics, and in this movie, he was not a major character, but he did have some great moments. Again, without spoiling anything, there's a really great segment of him where he basically just bails out, and it's really funny. It's really cool to see it happen. You know, the character of Rick Flagg is a great character. They do a little bit of explanation, in-depth understanding about him, but I didn't really want to know too much about his past. As far as I needed to know, he was the leader of the Suicide Squad, the field commander, directly under Amanda Waller, and that's what Warner Brothers gave us. That's what they provided to us. The character of Jared Leto, Joker, I think this is really going to be a big talking point here. The first question we have to ask is, can anybody follow up to Heath Ledger's Joker from The Dark Knight? The answer to that question is no. No one's going to be able to compete with Heath Ledger, but it was still a great performance. This Joker felt something akin to the 1950s goofy, meets the Killing Joke, meets the classic 1940s Joker, all sort of rolled into one. Is it Heath Ledger's Joker? No, and Jared Leto I don't think was going for that. Instead, he gave us something all his own, something unique. The Joker was sane, but insane at the same time, and it was a great blend of these two concepts. It was, Joker being a mastermind, organizing things, but he was always a background character. Did I feel like the movie needed him? No. The movie did not need the Joker to be in it. It was good to see him, it was nice to see him, but it wasn't a requirement. It really could have been fine without him there, and maybe it would have made a little more sense a few times if he wasn't part of the story. But he was, and for the way that he was written, he did perfectly fine. For the most part, if I'm going to give this movie a rating, I'd say in terms of, in relation to comic book films, again, I put it as my second favorite film of the year. But again, we still have Doctor Strange to look forward to, and that may very well take the number 2 spot, and Suicide Squad gets bumped down to number 3. In terms of my overall view of every comic book movie that's been made up to this point, the Suicide Squad kind of ranks around the bottom of the top 10. That's because it's going against movies like Captain America Civil War, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Iron Man 1, X-Men Days of Future Past. It's going against some strong competition, the Man of Steel, when it comes to comic book films. So I wouldn't say this is one of the greatest movies ever made in the realm of comics, but what I will say is that it's unique. It gives us villains who are acting as superheroes, whether it's because they were conscripted or because they chose to. It is the quintessential example of the Suicide Squad in comics translated into film. With that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Post comments below. Let me know what you guys think about the Suicide Squad movie. I'm really curious to see your all's opinions, and I will catch you all later. Peace.